1963 holidays saw us on our way to Yugi, or Yugoslavia. But the first day we went down to Dover to Claude Nider's, and we spent quite a nice time here. This was taken in the swimming pool, and here Joan is encouraged into the water by Pirate, Claude and Christopher, and here's Joan again trying a few strokes. Graham here got into difficulties with a pair of water wings, but he managed to straighten himself out okay. Here's Claude and Christopher, and the Pirate here trying to give Christopher a few cricket lessons. But the next day saw us on our way down to Dover. We left a beautiful evening, got down to Dover, and here we are at the German customs the next day. We did 365 miles that day, and we arrived at Anweiler in Trifels somewhere about 6 o'clock at night. All very tired and weary. We had a feed and went to bed quite early. But the next morning we took a stroll around this lovely place, and even Pirate, who had tonsillitis, decided he'd put his shorts on, and we all took a stroll up here. This was a really beautiful place. But of course we were making for Yugoslavia, and we kept on pushing on and pushing on, and here we are at the Zugspitze at Garmisch-Partenkirchen, and this is a beautiful Bavarian cottage which we passed and we zoomed up on. More views of the Bavarian Alps, all covered in blue haze and mist. Pity we haven't got a sky filter though. This was Mittenwald. We arrived here somewhere about 12 o'clock. We took a quiet stroll around here and took 1 or 2 photographs. This was a beautiful place. And Dobiarco, oh Dobiarco will long live in the memories of Pirates, who got the needle because he took his pants down. And more views of the Dolomites. Grag's Dolomites. How we love the dollies. Cortina d'Ampezzo. And the dollies again. The Moria Pass, the Pirate still asleep. And on to Yugi. How disappointed we were, and how fast we came out. This is taken at Mount Falcon on our way back to beautiful Italy, where food was good and all facilities on hand. And here we spent a lovely 5 days at Sistiana. Yes, it was hot, Joan, very hot. Phew. Hi, kid. Hey up, he's taking a photograph of us. My nose is itching. A general view of Sistiana campsite. Some Germans here putting up a frame tent. And our German friends here who took about 5 to 6 hours to put that tent up. And I don't know what Joan's got on here, but she's smoking a cigarette. Oh yes, That seaweed must have been very, very interesting. Hey up, mind this wave coming up. Oops. Oops. Joan took a chance on this lilo. We considered taking the plugs out and letting her go down, but we didn't. Graham there doing a spot of piloting. And this sees us on our way to Venice. A motor ferry. And a large ocean going liner. And Venice there. Here's some people lazing along one of the Venice canals. St. Mark's Square and the pigeons. And the tower. The bell tower. Yes, there were a lot of people. And we couldn't get these flipping pigeons on our hands at all. We tried always. Even the pirate here took a hand in the job, gave us some advice and some corn. St. Mark's. Bags of photographers, everybody taking photographs, cine cameras, still cameras. And St. Mark's coffee, 25 bob. 3 coffees, 2 beers. And Graham again, like an out-of-work Indian. And pirate here, fast asleep, once more. The Ward case. Oh, once more up that tower. Up, up. Go on a bit further. That's it, right to the top. No, it wasn't a cockfight, love. He was wanting us to go and have a look at the Venetian glassworks. And we went. And we bought some presents. Here we are on our way back. That was beautiful mosaic work on the top of St. Mark's there. And this sees us on the famous gondola ride. We managed to get this chap down to a reasonable price. There's a large ocean-going tanker. We boarded the gondola, and here we are, on our way. Yes, this is the life, love. Off we go. And contrary to what people say, Venice didn't smell. It was all very interesting. The Grand Canal, the Gold House, the Rialto Bridge here, a famous bridge on the Grand Canal. On and on round the waterways, and finally we turned into quite a quiet waterway, what one would call the side streets. Under the bridge, here's a speed merchant coming up on the right here. And the Bridge of Sighs, the famous Bridge of Sighs. This is quite a difficult task for the exposure meter, but it copes with it quite well. Yes, they drive right the way through. Beautiful inside. And this was a difficult shot. Trying to pan on up and down on this building, and we're being tossed all over the place on the gondola. But we all enjoyed it, and it was worth the money. He probably got an extra pound out of us, I don't know. Here's Graham here. Still looking for souvenirs, and the Italian woman there keeping a beady eye on us. Ah, yes, Ian's hat trick. That's very rude. No. Lift the hat. Fold your arms. Now a sniff. Graham again. He appears from nowhere, this fella. Here's the beautiful pleasure craft. And another motor ferry. I have a passion for boats, any type, any size, and I wish this one was ours. Oh yes, this was the famous tropical storm on the Lido. This chap was left high and dry, as you may say, up to his axles in water. But everybody helped, everybody laughed. Even Pirate took a hand in getting rid of some of the water, but anyway it was clear in a matter of minutes. On our way to Como, up the Italian autostrada. Pavese. It has our M1 beaten. Como the next day was a bit dull at first, but we took a stroll round the banks. And we came across a large water fountain, which Ian and I studied for quite a considerable time. We couldn't make out what the dual purpose of it was. There must be one. Here it is. It was a wonderful fountain though. And then of course Ian was watching the engines, more engines. And the trip up Lake Como was very beautiful and very interesting. The sun came out and we all got quite sunburnt. On and on from shore to shore. Beautiful Lake Como covered again in that mountain blueness. From one bank to the other we went. An Italian chapel in the foreground there, zooming up on it. A houseboat. There's hotels, and Switzerland a couple of days later was covered in water. Rain, rain, rain and mist, but it still looked very, very beautiful. Oh my goodness me, this was the famous St. Gothard's Pass. 37 hairpin bends. Did we actually climb up that lot? Good Lord. And the Swiss waterfalls and the Swiss dams. Thousands of gallons of water generating thousands of kilovolts of electricity. Water collected and dammed, sent through turbines, and then collected again, sent down pipes 200 to 300 feet down the mountain, through more turbines, a land flowing with milk and honey and electricity. There's certainly some power there. And the Swiss guest house where we stayed a night. What a grand meal we had here. And on through Bâle the next day, where we had breakfast on the roadside here, looking down on that pass. we met some people here that had been through Ugi and through to Greece. And dinner the next day was taken on the Autobahn. They got me stirring the soup here. And even the Germans seem to have traffic problems. Here's one on the Autobahn after a motor accident, lined up for miles and miles. And the Rhine was disappointing. It was raining, but the barges still keep on going. A couple of days on the Rhine and then on to Brussels. General view of the square. And this is the circular roadway, a view of one of the subways on it. And the famous church on the way to Ostend. This was taken in rain. Boy, did it rain. Yes, it did rain. This was taken on the Autobahn from Brussels to Ostend. Windscreen wipers going, sheeting it down with rain. And on to Ostend, where we had a nice cup of coffee and something to eat, and we finally got on the boat. And it was still raining. Loading up onto the car ferry. All clear. And cast off. Yes, still raining. You can see it throwing it down there. And straight down the coast of France for some reason. Down through Boulogne and Calais, and here we are passing a motor ferry from Boulogne. It was a grand sight. And here we are, back on the M1. A mug of coffee. Yes, browned off. Nothing like Italy. And here we are, back in Walker Avenue. It must have been a bit of a rough ride, that, Ian.